Now, for more on this and other top political stories of the week, we're now joined by SABC News senior politics reporter Ntebo Mokobo. Ntebo, thank you so much for your time. We were just speaking now particularly about that ANC NEC, that deliberation, as well as the release of the list of candidates before that manifesto.
Good evening, Lopang, and good evening to the viewers. Yes, the ANC had its, I would say, special NEC earlier today. It was just to sort of discuss what is contained in the proposed election manifesto. You would recall that, the manifesto, as they say, it's informed by what the public and some civil society organizations are saying, as well as professionals. So that's basically what they did. They queued the mandate from the rank and file, as well as rank and file membership, as well as ordinary South Africans. And the NEC then deliberated on what is contained in there, and of course they will have to adopt that manifesto and that draft. So that draft has been adopted, and what is left now is that it will be unveiled at a public, either rally or public meeting. Yeah. That public meeting or that public rally is expected to be held somewhere in Diepsloot, in a place called River Park. River Park, I think, is strategic for the ANC because mainly it's populated by people who have moved from Alex to that side of Diepsloot, and mainly there it's like an ANC home. So they will be launching their manifesto there, but that manifesto would be preceded, of course, by the announcement of the mayoral candidates. Mayoral candidates of 8 metros, 44 district municipalities, as well as the 205 local municipalities. All in all is 257. And of course, the ANC will then make sure that all those, as they said, the process was a bit delayed because they had to vet them to make sure that everyone who gets sifted as their potential candidates, it's clean of everything.
Now, Ntebo, these local government elections on the 4th of November, that would be the first time that we have these elections under these circumstances, under the government of national unity.
Indeed, and it seems, coalition government, or this government of national unity at the provincial, at the national, and as well as at the local sphere of government will continue for a foreseeable future. If you look at, for instance, at the ANC goes into this election on a very back foot. In the 2021 elections, it had around 45.59%, 46 if you round it off mathematically. So the ANC goes into this election with that in mind, that in the 2021 elections, if we were to hypothesize and say, let's take this local government as the national, the national elections, then it meant the ANC had lost the elections then nationally, but at the local sphere of government in a different tip. Yes. But if they go with that in mind, having lost around 45%, dipped by 8% in the last 2016 local government elections, then it means that that's one hurdle that they had to overcome. Second hurdle that they had to overcome is the fact that they won't be supported by the SACP, because the SACP would announce that it will stand on its own these elections. And of course, again, when they go into these elections, as opposed to the 2021 local government elections, where we had around 320, 350 political parties. This time around, we're talking around 620 political parties, over 620. So that on its own then means that there is a split vote. So the ANC will have to grapple, wrestle for votes with so many political parties this time around. So that's why I'm saying that they go into these elections on a very back foot.
Speaking of that, those clashes between Dlamini-Zuma as well as Mbalula, and it's nothing new that we've seen over the last few months, where clashes inter-party as well as on social media that we've seen happen and take place throughout the build-up to the local government elections as well.
Well, I think it's always expected in an organization like that, in an organization that is really steeped in factional battles, and organization that is, I would say, beset by internal intra-politics and squabbles. So the factions in the ANC, it's just a sign of factions in the ANC playing themselves out. But some people are not really chuffed by that, because they say that the ANC is facing the toughest election ever. So they need to really close ranks. They need to really rally behind each other to make sure that at least there is a showing for them in the local polls. So that on its own, again, I think it will work against them, because they need to go into these elections as a united front as opposed to a party that is at its war with itself.
The second interim Madlanga report, that's certainly one to look out for as well, Ntebo.
Well, the Madlanga report, I mean, the second Madlanga report was, I think, given to the president around the 26th of May, and there were some recommendations in there, for instance, sort of referrals. I mean, the referrals mentioned around 4 people, Witness G, Mr. Brown Mokhodzi, as well as General Sibia. Those are the people that were mentioned at some point, and then the recommendation, the referrals are saying that if the recommendations or the referrals were to be followed through, there has to be sort of an investigation, a possible criminal investigation that has to be pursued against the 4, and possible suspension if there is, after those investigators, whoever who would be investigating, has satisfied himself or herself in terms of whether these people have got a case to answer to. So those referrals, indeed, they will be followed through. But this on its own clearly tells us that, indeed, the Madlanga Commission is somewhat biting, as if you like.
Yeah, and we've had people claiming that these commissions are doing nothing for South Africa. But as things stand, people like Brown Mokhodzi, for example, his legal woes continue to grow. We see it week in, week out. One such example is Julius Mkhwanazi, who keeps finding himself in the back foot of the law.
Indeed. I mean, Julius Mkhwanazi is on the 3rd bail now. I think because, again, he's arrested, there's going to be another bail. That would be the 4th bail. So that on its own clearly shows that, indeed, the Madlanga Commission, there are some offshoots in terms of the work that they are doing.
Ntebo, thank you so much for your time, as always. Ntebo Mokobo, SABC senior political reporter. They're giving us a roundup of this week's top political stories.